Hello and welcome to another edition of News Showcase. I am Priya, Tamil Nadu's first artificial intelligence news presenter. Singapore Airlines has apologized for the traumatic experience on its flight from London to Singapore caused by severe turbulence on Tuesday. A British man who died during the incident was named as 73-year-old Jeff Kitchen, and 7 others are in a critical condition. About 70 passengers were hurt when flight SQ321 was rattled by extreme turbulence, which occurred over Myanmar before the flight made an emergency landing in Bangkok. Singapore's Prime Minister Lawrence Wong promised a thorough investigation, and a team has already arrived in Bangkok. It is Wong's first major challenge since taking office just a week ago. The US has said it is sending experts to find out what caused the incident. Reports said it is the first fatal incident involving a Singapore Airlines in 24 years. Heat waves sweeping across India are setting new temperature records this summer. The country's financial hub Mumbai is the latest to report surging temperatures accompanied by high humidity. People in the sprawling metropolis said they have restricted their outdoor activities to early morning or late evening hours to avoid the heat. There are reports of a similar weather pattern in Jammu region, where the temperature hit 43 degrees Celsius on Tuesday. Social media was filled with pictures of people eating watermelons or drinking lemonade and water from roadside stalls and juice shops. Authorities in the region changed school hours to help students reduce their exposure to the heat. On Tuesday, the Weather Service said there would be more heat waves this summer than in the previous years. Authorities in Maharashtra demolished illegal pubs and bars after an underage drunk driver killed 2 riders days ago. Heavy equipment knocked out illegal buildings that housed bars in the Koregaon area in Pune city, where the crash occurred. The municipal corporation said 2 bars were dismantled and the crackdown will continue across the city. Police investigating the incident arrested the father of the crash driver and owners of bars where the 17-year-old was served liquor. There was public outrage after the teenager was treated leniently and let off on bail within hours of the deadly crash. Reports said the boy's father, a wealthy construction businessman who fled in multiple cars to avoid arrest, was taken into custody on Tuesday. Thousands of devotees descended on the Subramania Swami temple in Tamil Nadu on the occasion of Vaikasi Visakam. Many of them carried pots of milk and coconuts as offerings to fulfill their vows to the Hindu god at the temple near Madurai. A large number of devotees were seen with their tongue and skin pierced with metal spears to display their faith. Coconut husks were spread on the road and water sprinklers were installed along the route leading to the temple to ease the heat for pilgrims walking barefoot in the scorching sun. Madurai is famous for its temples, and southern city is a cultural hub and a gateway to southern Tamil Nadu, where the major part of the rural population lives in hundreds of villages and towns. The temples dedicated to Hindu god Murugan in Chennai and Tiruchendur saw devotees in large numbers on the occasion. A cycling expedition to raise awareness about elections has reached the world's highest polling station situated in the hilly state of Himachal Pradesh. The expedition was launched by the election regulator, the Election Commission, to push voters to take part in the ongoing national elections in the country. During the expedition, the cyclists told voters in the scenic state about the importance of elections, and it was their fundamental responsibility of every citizen to take part in it. The cyclists reached a polling station in Tashigang at an altitude of 15,000 feet to send out the message that when difficult terrain can be reached on bicycles, why not people reach polling stations in their neighborhoods? Norway, Spain and Ireland have announced plans to recognize a Palestinian state. 2 of them, Norway and Spain, said they will make a formal announcement this week. Israel responded by pulling out its envoys to Norway and Ireland and described the move as a distorted step. Its foreign ministry said the plan will fuel extremism and instability. At least 140 countries have already recognized Palestine as a state, but the US and the UK have not. Norway's move is not a surprise, which has been behind the private negotiations that resulted in the 1993 Oslo Accords, which granted the Palestinian Authority limited self-rule in the West Bank and Gaza. Norway has long advocated for a 2-state solution in which Israel and Palestine exist side by side peacefully. As the prosecutor of the International Criminal Court requests arrest warrants for prominent Israeli leaders, U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken has said he will collaborate with lawmakers on possible sanctions against the court. At a congressional hearing, Blinken declared that he was committed to acting against the deeply wrong-headed decision. His remarks coincide with a Republican drive to censure ICC officials. A vote on the measure might take place as soon as this week. Although it is not a member of the court, the U.S. has supported earlier prosecutions, such as the ICC's order for Vladimir Putin's arrest related to the conflict in Ukraine. ICC's chief prosecutor Karim Khan said on Monday that he has requested arrest warrants for Israel's defense minister Yoav Gallant and Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, as well as 3 Hamas leaders. The United Nations has said that the distribution of food has been halted in the southern Gazan city of Rafah because of a shortage of supplies and unrest. The continuous Israeli military action against Hamas in eastern Rafah has rendered the UN Agency for Palestinian Refugees and its distribution center and warehouse inaccessible. Since the Israeli offensive started earlier in May, an estimated 3/4 of more than 1 million individuals seeking safety in Rafah had left. The refugee agency said that no medical supplies had been sent to its health centers in the previous 10 days. The announcement coincided with the U.S. statement that it believed none of the 569 tons of food and other supplies that had entered Gaza via a recently finished floating dock were distributed. The U.S. has said Russia deployed a satellite last week that it believes may be used to strike other space missions. It said the Russian satellite was on the same orbit as a U.S. government satellite and that Washington would keep an eye on the matter and needed to be prepared to defend its interests. Russia hasn't made any remarks about the matter in public. Moscow and Washington, the 2 major adversaries, have been at odds over space weaponry at the UN for some weeks now, accusing one another of trying to militarize space. Russia's foreign ministry asserted earlier on Tuesday that the U.S. was attempting to use space as an arena for military confrontation. Numerous military analysts have long cautioned that space is probably going to be the next battlefield as technology has taken over key functions of daily life. Vietnam has elected Tu Lam as the country's new president. Some observers view this as a stepping stone for the former police minister to run later for the top post of chairman of the ruling Communist Party of Vietnam. Lam's election came after the National Assembly named former Deputy Tran Tan Man as its new chairman on Monday. This could temporarily end the 2 months of intense political unrest that saw 3 of the country's top 5 leaders resign over unspecified charges. Following a secret poll, Lam, the only contender for the position, was unanimously approved in accordance with standard operating norms in the strictly regulated one-party state. After his election, Lam pledged to resolutely and persistently continue the fight against corruption. A single feather from the now extinct Huia bird of New Zealand has sold for over $28,000 USD at an auction, setting a world record. Webb's auction house said the feather shattered the previous record, which was for a feather of the same species, by 450%. It was first estimated to bring up to $3,000 in value. The Maori people consider the Huia bird as sacred. The chiefs and their families frequently wore their feathers as headdresses and exchanged them in trade and as gifts. The Museum of New Zealand said the bird was last seen in 1907, but unverified sightings were reported some 30 years later. Huia is a small songbird in the wattlebird family and well known for its graceful jumps and beautiful plumage. A small town in the U.S. state of Iowa had several tornado fatalities as severe storms tore over the region. Cars were broken, houses and businesses in Greenfield were devastated, and the landscape was covered in rubble. During a news briefing, Iowa police confirmed the deaths, but they could not disclose the exact number. 12 people were hurt, and as the town's hospital was among the damaged structures, they had to go somewhere else. Tornadoes, a lot of rain, and power outages also struck Nebraska, Illinois, and Wisconsin states. Footage captured the destruction wreaking havoc around Iowa, displaying collapsed structures, toppled automobiles, and damaged wind turbines. The worst tornado of all struck Greenfield, a community of 2,000 residents located roughly 55 miles from Des Moines. Thank you for watching. I am Priya, Tamil Nadu's first artificial intelligence news presenter. Do tune in, same time tomorrow, for a roundup of the latest news and updates in India and around the world.